For the first time since 2012, Brazil would be the host of the final race of the Formula 1 season. And it looks as if either any three drivers, Bottas, Rosberg or Vettel, could take the World Championship, with Ferrari looking strongest through Sector 1, Mercedes looking strongest through Sector 3, and the Williams looking strongest through Sector 2. So could Josh Chiro cause an upset and get in amongst the championship battle? However, in an interview he stated that his only interest is beating his teammate Sebastian Buemi and not helping any three drivers to secure the championship. Taking a look at the final qualifying grid for the season, it'll be Valtteri Bottas taking pole, but less than a tenth ahead of his teammate Nico Rosberg. Josh Chiro returns to his usual qualifying position as P3, with Sebastian Vettel in 4th, a further half a second behind. Jean-Nic Vergne lines up a very impressive 5th for Red Bull, his best qualifying of the season, with Sebastian Buemi in 6th. Sergio Perez starts from 7th, just getting the better of Lewis Hamilton, who starts down in 8th. Nico Hülkenberg will start 9th once again, and Daniel Kvyat rounds off the top 10 for Red Bull. Taking a look down the rest of the grid, Max Verstappen would just miss out on a place in Q3, starting from 11th, with Marcus Ericsson in 12th for Sauber. Joseph Kral gets the better of his teammate Colin Jordan for the first time to line up in 13th, with Adrian Sutil and the other Sauber starting from 14th. Felipe Massa returns for the final race of the season, and his final race in Formula 1 will start 15th for McLaren, with Carlos Sainz in 16th, Colin Jordan in 17th, Alonso 18th, and the miners complete the grid. Hey guys, Taro here, welcome back to UniONE, this time round 18, the season finale for Season 2 here in Brazil. And before getting to the race, let's take a quick look at how the season's progressed, so just refresh your memory on everything that's happened. Going off pole positions, you can see Nico Rosberg and Valtteri Bottas in Mercedes really was the car to have, in qualifying trim at least, taking all but 6 of the pole positions this season. You see there in the first half of the season up until about Britain, Hungary, it looks like Ferrari was the car to have on race pace. Mercedes just not able to convert it, and it actually took the 5 races for Mercedes to actually take a win this season. And then he took another further 2 up until Hungary. You see, the Ferrari really was the car to have in race pace for the first half of the season, and then onwards, from Belgium onwards, see that's where it just started going wrong, and that this is where Mercedes and you can say Williams pretty much came in as the top 2 cars, as the cars to beat, and that one-off wonder win for Daniel Kvyat at Singapore. But in the constructors and driver standings, it was all Ferrari all the way down to Italy, where they were hoping obviously they could win championship this season, but that's where it all went wrong. You see there, that's where Mercedes now lead the constructors up until this point now at Brazil, and Bottas led the championship for 1 race, and then it was Rosberg for the next 2, and then Vettel taking it back in the last 2 races. Of course, with that epic dive up the inside of Bottas at the previous race at Mexico. Now taking a quick look at the driver standings coming into this race, and see Vettel leading by 2 points from Valtteri Bottas, with Nico Rosberg in 3rd, 9 points behind, and it's mathematically impossible for Lewis Hamilton to win the championship, so he'll probably be acting as the rear gunner for Sebastian Vettel in this race. And as Mercedes stated at Japan, the lead driver will get the benefit of team orders if necessary, and Bottas is the lead driver, but Rosberg's still in championship contention, so I've got a feeling that Rosberg's going to ignore any team orders that Mercedes try to give him. And taking a quick look at the constructors coming into this race, Mercedes only have a 7-point lead back to Ferrari in 2nd, with Williams in 3rd and Red Bull in 4th. For the final time this season, taking a look at the race strategy, and it's going to be a one-stop, stopping on lap 7 for a set of the medium tyre scale in the race, but now how everything goes this far, nothing's ever a one-stop. Now coming to the 5 red lights for the final time this season. Lights out and away we go for the Brazilian Grand Prix, so that'll be a good start for both Mercedes. They'll be pulling away from us now. Rosberg looks to now try and challenge Valtteri Bottas going into turn 1. You got a braking right now, trying to get on the inside of Nico Rosberg. Making a bit of contact there with Valtteri Bottas, but we have to slap that down into P3, and Buemi's managed to get up now into P4, so great start there from Buemi, now to try and gain in the slipstream now on the back of Nico Rosberg. Hasn't got the best exit out of turn 3, now we're gaining right onto the back now of the German. And now Buemi trying to look now, got to go up now on our inside. And side by side now with Sebastian Buemi, you can try holding it around the outside line, are we? If I get a bit on the grass, they get forced out wide. We're trying to hold it out. Up this side of Buemi, going side by side still with the Swiss driver. Trying to hold it now around the outside. But he just can't hold it. Hasn't got the momentum. Has to slot back in now to P4. Now we get back up into P3, back into our starting position. And now this second sector is where surprisingly we're strongest. The Williams is strongest through the corners. That's not something I never thought I'd say. There's this thing something about, because it's the low speed corners where the Williams doesn't really do well. But for some reason, I just seem to get it around Brazil, probably because it's my favourite track on the calendar. So I probably just found something extra around this track. So we're talking of tracks, it's like Rosberg trying to pull away from us now. Vettel's way behind us now. Vettel's dropped so far behind, like 2-3 seconds behind already. So it's been a terrible start there for Sebastian Vettel. And Vettel pits! Vettel pits at the end of the first lap. What's Vettel doing? Along with one of the Rebels in a Force India. But Vettel going into the pits at the end of lap 1. Has he got a puncture? What Ferrari thinking? Putting him onto... I can't see what tyres on because that Ferrari's mechanics in the way. But Vettel going onto probably another set of soft tyres. That's going to drop him down. He's been jumped by the Red Bull to make it worse. Now Vettel on another set of soft tyres. So Vettel now second to last, and he's on the 2-stop. Now it seems if Bottas and Rosberg stick to the 1-stop, then they've won the championship, and Ferrari are throwing it away with their terrible strategy calls. Now just need to see what Rosberg and Bottas do. Now we're getting right on the back now of Nico Rosberg. And we say, look, fucking inside. Rosberg just defends, cuts himself, make a bit of contact there with the back of his rear diffuser. Very late move there from Rosberg. We're cutting a bit further on. We're still right behind Nico Rosberg now, coming start of lap 3. Now we have DRS finally trying to gain on the back now of the German. See now DRS wide open. It's not going to be enough yet. Now he's still behind Rosberg for the time being. But getting ever closer to the back of that German, the defending world champion. Now trying to look around the outside. Now he's all over his rear diffuser, trying to pressure him into making a mistake, which we've seen him do a few times in the past. It's not uncommon for Rosberg to make mistakes under pressure. See there, a bit of a lock up there from Bottas in the lead. It's like we're actually closing back in to the back of Valtteri Bottas now. So as I'm catching Rosberg, Rosberg's catching Bottas, and Buemi's just sitting right behind if anything happens. So four-way scrap for the lead. So let's be Mercedes v Williams, and it's been a while since that happened. It would have been McLaren Mercedes, not just Merck's Mercedes cars. Now getting right on the back now, we need a better exit through here, we get a better one this time. Traction's still not great on the exit now, coming up into the third sector where the Mercedes is the strongest car. Now Rosberg pits! Rosberg pits at the end of lap 3, is Rosberg doing a 2-stop as well? Surely it's just throwing away the championship, surely. To win the championship, just do a 1-stop. Because the time you lose on dead tyres is less than what you lose doing a 2-stop. So Rosberg, what tyres is Rosberg on to? I'm sure he's doing a 2-stop as well on a set of the soft tyres. Don't think what else we're going to. Now the question is, where is Sebastian Vettel in all of this? With Vettel, will have had a 2-3 lap undercut. Vettel's only here. Vettel's only crossed the start finish line. Vettel is way behind. So Rosberg on a 2-stop has overcut Sebastian Vettel. And it just looks getting worse and worse now for Sebastian Vettel. Now it depends what Valtteri Bottas does, because Bottas can just stick it out for another 2-3 laps. And he should be on the 1-stop and again each machine, but now again side by side with Valtteri Bottas trying to hold it now around the outside of the Finn. Bottas going to try to force around the outside. We keep it side by side with the Finn in the Mercedes, but Mercedes just has the legs on us. I mean Rosberg. And Bottas just keeps it back into the lead now of the Brazilian Grand Prix, but we're all over the rear diffuser of Valtteri Bottas now. But once again on the exit, Bottas just pulling away from us now, and I've got Buemi over there, but Bottas pits as well, and we follow him in. So we're switching up to a 2-stop as well now, going right behind Valtteri Bottas now into the pit lane. There's going to be a battle of the pit crews between Williams and Mercedes, but now all the championship contenders switching up to a 2-stop, and we just decided to follow them. Get a bit of action in this final race. Follow them until now. So these are Red Bulls coming, so that's Verne coming in as well, I'd think. It's like all the top cars are now doing 2-stops in this race. Interesting decision there from Bottas and Mercedes instead of just leaving him out, because surely if he'd just stayed out he'd have the win in the bag and therefore the championship, because Vettel and Rosberg are way down the order. Now talking of Sebastian Vettel, here he is coming just behind us on the pit lane. He's going to go side by side with Sebastian Vettel coming out of the pits. He's going to just drive right around the outside of us now, and Vettel now moves up into what is currently P15, so not even in the points of this rate. Yellow flags up in front, so what's happening there? Vettel getting very brake checking us there. Now Vettel wants his championship, but I'm not sure trying to slow us down so he had the possibility of us rear-ending him was the best solution to that. and are cutting onto the end now of the lap. Got the two Manas holding up now both of the Mercedes in front. Now this should be an easier take for both the Mercedes. Now got Rossi gaining on the back now. Stephen Ross pushed to the inside, blocks off the Mercedes. They're going forward now, two sets of 2x2. And they'll keep it side by side now, the two Manas blocking off the two Mercedes. An absolute treat there. Now Rosberg looks to try and get a run there around the outside now of Will Stevens, but he's going to get boxed in by the Mana, and he's going to go side by side with Will Stevens being held now by Alex Rossi. Now Stevens going to try and get now up the inside of Alex Rossi. Rosberg started ducking behind, defence now to Sebastian Vettel. Now Vettel's going side by side with Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes. Of course, all the championship contenders have somehow found themselves on the same piece of track, stuck behind the two slowest cars on the grid. Now we're waiting, just diving all over the track to try and find a way past these two. Now Bottas can look up the inside now. Vettel looks at Rosberg as well. Great dive there from Valtteri Bottas, very opportunistic. Now going side by side with the two Mercedes teammates. And this is why Brazil should be the final race of the season and not Abu Dhabi. Just epic racing here. The weather doesn't like to play factor this race, but it can do. And just get the most epic battles here behind the two slowest cars on the grid. All three championship contenders stuck behind them. Rosberg trying to move up the inside of Alex Rossi. Doesn't think about it. Now Bottas still going side by side now with his teammate. Now going to get boxed in behind the Mana though. Now Rosberg now on the inside line forces Bottas in, boxes him in behind the Mana. That's going to be a complete drag race now. We've seen the Manas off and Rosberg going way to the inside now, trying to get past one of the Manas. Coming up now under braking into turn one. Rosberg and Dave up inside both of the Manas. Rosberg's going to get past both the Manas in one corner. And now Vettel's going side by side with Valtteri Bottas, who's stuck behind them. This is exactly what Rosberg needs. Now he needs to get a road and get a few more positions just to gain the championship. Now Rosberg is trying to get past Valtteri Bottas as well as Bottas is going to get past Valtteri Bottas now. Now we've got Verne going 3 wide with me and Bottas coming now to turn 4. Vettel's managed to clear both the Manas, but now Verne's cleared us. Now going side by side with one of the Manas of Will Stevens. Now Stevens going to try and dive it back up the inside now, John-Eric Verne. Great driving there from Will Stevens, of course. Even in the slowest car in the grid, he's going to put up a fight with the top cars. Weren't expecting this in this race, I imagine. But now Verne has managed to clear one of the Manas. Now we're going side by side with Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes. Of course, it doesn't matter about us because we're not in this championship. Now getting a great run on Will Stevens because that Mana just has no downforce, no traction. And now we get back ahead of Will Stevens. Now gaining in the traction now, right behind John-Eric Verne. He's now caught up right behind the other Mana of Alex Rossi. Trying to get now up the inside of John-Eric Verne coming into the ultimate corner. We just can't find a way around. And on traction, that Red Bull starts a bit more downforce. Now getting all over the back now, Johnny Verne. We're shoving him along with that close to the back of the Frenchman in the Red Bull. Now Rossi pits. Now we're going side by side with John-Eric Verne. Now coming into turn 1, it should be an easy overtake Red Bull v Williams. And we make an easy move there into turn 1. Ahead of Johnny Verne, but Will Stevens is still ahead of Valtteri Bottas. Bottas has just lost about 8 seconds in his previous 2 laps now to Vettel and Rosberg. He's managed to get past both of them. But now Bottas is going to pull to the inside now of Alex Rossi coming into turn 4 and trying to make the move on the inside. And finally he managed to clear the Mana of Alex Rossi, who's now holding up the 2 Force Indias, Daniel Kvyat and one of the Lotuses. So now we're only in P9 with Vettel in P8 and I guess Rosberg in P7 unless he's managed to overtake anyone else. Now cutting a bit further on, here's Lewis Hamilton who's leading the Grand Prix now coming into the pits for his first stop. So is Hamilton doing the 1 stop, which is what Bottas, Vettel and Rosberg should have been doing in this race. Now what tyres does Hamilton go on to? Hamilton's going to set a medium tyre, so Hamilton doing the 1 stop in this race. Hopefully there isn't a Force India with a puncture this race to ruin that for him. Now it just depends, where's Lewis Hamilton going to come out in relation to me, Vettel and the Mercedes? So there goes Sebastian Buemi, it looks like. That's not us coming out the same way, I just saw him on the top of the screen there. And there goes Buemi, so he's going to come out behind our teammate, so I think that Toro Rosso is actually leading the race from Buemi. And then Hamilton's going to come out in front of Nico Rosberg, so Hamilton has got a massive overcut on Vettel and the 2 Mercedes. And now Vettel is going to come in now for his second stop into what should be a set of medium tyres, so Vettel going for the undercut once again on the 2 Mercedes of Bottas and Nico Rosberg, and I guess us as well to try and clear a gap to us. Now Vettel goes onto a set now of the medium tyres to take him to the end of this race. Now cutting on to the end of the next lap, we've got Nico Rosberg right up behind Lewis Hamilton, and now Bottas comes into race stop now. Now Rosberg coming into the pits now for his final stop of the race. I would presume to go onto a set of the medium tyres now to go to the end of this race. Mercedes changing him onto a set there of medium tyres. He's been held as we come into the pits. And there's Valtteri Bottas behind them. Bottas has to stack behind Nico Rosberg. Mercedes did not think that through whatsoever. I guess they thought he'd been held by the Red Bull as well. So I guess that Mercedes thought there was enough of a gap for them to pit them on the same lap. Didn't counter in me holding up Rosberg there. Must have been a nightmare stop now for Valtteri Bottas. So now where's Sebastian Vettel going to come out in relation to us? I think you just saw him there at the top of the screen. I think we managed to overcut Sebastian Vettel. There he is. He's still behind the McLarens and the Toro Rosso and the Sauber. Now the Toro Rosso can look to make a move there on the inside now of the McLaren, but a huge lock up there from Nico Rosberg. That's not into the fresh shows. Rosberg's got an engine failure. Rosberg with an engine failure in the final race of the season. And that's him out of the championship. Now it's a two-way fight between Bottas and Sebastian Vettel, which currently Vettel's winning because Bottas is behind us. To now Bottas has to try and clear me, the 3 cars in front, and then Sebastian Vettel if he wants to win this championship. He's only got 7 laps left to do it in. Now cutting on for the end of lap 11 now, we're trying to gain in the slipstream now on the back of Marcus Ericsson. And so we're going to how fast these Saubers are in a straight line, so going to be a pretty tough time things to try and overtake Sauber. Sauber's going to look to make a move there on the car in front, going to braking. Sauber v McLaren Honda, that shouldn't be an easy fight to win for the Sauber. That should be pretty simple. But Ericsson runs out wide onto the curbing through turn 2. Now going side by side now with the Swedes. Now going side by side. Look at the straight line speed that Sauber's got on us. And we're going to try and make their move now up the inside though of the McLaren of Fernando Alonso, so we get 1 position at least. But Ericsson then managed to power past the McLaren, and the McLaren is holding up Valtteri Bottas, so Bottas likes getting held up by the slobber cars in this race. So now we're trying to make a move now up the inside of Marcus Ericsson. Coming up now into sector 2 where Williams is strongest. That's Sauber maybe fast in a straight line, but they really are scrumping on downforce. And now we can try and chase down Carlos Sainz for P6. Now cutting on to the start of lap 13, now gaining in the DRS now on the back of Carlos Sainz, managed to pull away from Marcus Ericsson. Look at the straight line speed we've got on the Toro Rosso, of course with the Renault engine. Now going side by side with Carlos Sainz. Now we make the move now up into P6, and now we can try and chase down Sebastian Vettel for P5. So I don't know who's in P4 at this moment. I don't really know the top 3s. Now cutting a bit further on, Vettel is now caught up to one of the Lotuses and another Toro Rosso. That's answered my question about who's in front of us. Now Vettel is going to try and make a move here on the Lotus. Don't know which one that is. He's going to gain it in DRS now on the back now of that Lotus. Got that Lotus has DRS off the back of the Toro Rosso in front, so Vettel is trying to gain, but doesn't think it's better of a move and has to stay behind. Coming now into turn 1 with a lock up there from the Lotus. And now that's put us right behind Sebastian Vettel now. But Vettel not going to want to let it go, so we get a bad exit through turn 2. That's Sebastian Vettel gaining and switching on the back of the Lotus, which is Carmen Jorda. And let's go and look to the inside now of Carmen Jorda coming down into turn 3. Makes a move up the inside of the Lotus driver. We have to check up there, go a bit sideways there to avoid hitting into the back of Carmen Jorda. Otherwise that could be a pretty nasty incident if we were to hit into the back of the Lotus. Of course Lotus have looked to have secured buys for next season, so they should be on the grid in some form. But now there's a McLaren. Where's that McLaren come from? Has that McLaren just magically appeared out of nowhere? I have no idea where that McLaren came from. It's the McLaren of Felipe Massa in his final race of the season. So is Felipe Massa being lapped in his final race of the season? He's getting out of the way of Vettel, so I'd imagine that Felipe Massa is being lapped. I mean, honestly, I don't think Felipe Massa is going to really care, assuming it's his final race. And Brazilians probably be a bit disappointed, but still, they've got Felipe Massa in his final race of the season. That's all they want to see. But now we're right up behind Carmen Jordan now in the Lotus, and this should be a pretty easy move given the speed difference. And the straight line isn't too much, but we should be able to make a move here coming up the inside of Carmen Jordan, because Jordan, I think, has lost DRS off the back of Sebastian Vettel. So now we should be able to make a move on Carmen Jordan, now gaining in the slipstream. Vettel makes a move on the Toro Rosso of Max Verstappen. Coming to turn 1, he's going to make the move on Verstappen. Yes, he does. Vettel moves ahead of Verstappen, and we move ahead of Carmen Jordan on lap 16. So now we've got 2 laps remaining to try and chase down Sebastian Vettel, but first we've got to get past Max Verstappen if we're to get anywhere close to the back of Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari. He's only got 2 laps left to go, and he should become world champion at this rate. Now cutting on into that lap and right behind Max Verstappen, now coming into turn 1. Going to make an easy move on the Toro Rosso, coming up to the inside line, and that moves us up now into P4 with Vettel in P3. And Bottas is gaining, but is he gaining enough? Is there enough time left for Bottas to try a miracle move to get past me and Vettel? And the answer is probably going to be no. It's cutting on to midway through lap 18. Vettel's in 4th, we're still in 5th, and Bottas is still behind us in 6th. So if he stays like this, Bottas isn't going to win the championship. But talking of winning, Lewis Hamilton is going to come up to the line to win the Brazilian Grand Prix after making the one-stop work. And this proves what could have been if it wasn't for the incidents at USA and Mexico. What could have been for Lewis Hamilton. Now cutting a bit further on, looking a bit further back. That's Sebastian Vettel, but Vettel knows what he's done. Now if Vettel just keep going for the last 300 metres, Vettel is going to cross the line, and Sebastian Vettel is your 2015 Drivers' World Champion.
Yes, 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 great drive, great drive. Well done. Slows it down. Numero uno is back, top class. Great drive. Ferrari's back, Ferrari's back. Fantastico, fantastico. Sei un grande, Seb.
Yes! Sì, ragazzi! Oh, mi senti? Mi senti? Grazie mille, ragazzi. Grazie, grazie, grazie. Dai, forza Ferrari!
Taking a look at the final race results for the season, Lewis Hamilton will take victory, 20 seconds clear of Sebastian Buemi in second, the lead of the two stock drivers, Sebastian Vettel in third, completing the podium. We will drop down to fourth, just couldn't catch Sebastian Vettel in the end, with Valtteri Bottas in fifth, I should say Max Verstappen in sixth for Toro Rosso, with Carmen Jorda in seventh, Verne in eighth, Carlos Sainz in ninth, Daniel Kvyat rounding off the top 10, with Sergio Perez in 11th, Fernando Alonso taking the final point for McLaren. Taking a look at the Drivers' Championship for one final time, and Sebastian Vettel is your world champion, 6 points clear of Valtteri Bottas in second, so congratulations to Sebastian Vettel on taking now his 5th world championship. Nico Rosberg comes home in third in the end, 13 points behind. And Lewis Hamilton in fourth. Sebastian Buemi in fifth for Williams, beating us in the end by 7 points. We take sixth. Daniel Kvyat in seventh. Jean-Eric Verne in eighth. Jenson Button remains in ninth. Daniel Ricciardo remains in 10th, but only 2 points ahead of Carmen Jorda in the end, who comes home in 11th. For Lotus, and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the top 12 for Force India. Now taking a look on the rest of the grid, the only thing I didn't keep track of these, but I did throughout the whole season, just didn't bother showing it because not really much change with the bottom half of the grid. All I'll say is ignore the points gap on the left hand side, because that's working off from Max Verstappen's, not the overall points total, so just ignore the points gap on the side, where the rest of it is all correct. Max Verstappen comes home in 13th for Toro Rosso, Adrian Sutil 14th, Fernando Alonso down in 15th despite taking a podium at Monaco, 2 points clear of Sergio Perez in 16th, Marcus Ericsson comes home in 17th for Sauber, with Carlos Sainz in 18th, Joseph Kral in 19th, Romain Grosjean down in 20th, with Felipe Massa in 21st, 1 point clear of Stoffel Van Dorn in 22nd, Will Stevens 23rd, and Alex Rossi 24th, and the only driver who failed to score a point throughout the whole season. Taking a look at the constructors standings for the final time this season, the Scuderia Ferrari are the constructors champions for the first time since 2008, so congratulations to Ferrari for taking the constructors, and again to Sebastian Vettel for taking the drivers. Mercedes dropped down to second, 15 points behind in the end, with Williams in third, 78 points behind. Red Bull in fourth, almost 200 points off the victory, with Lotus securing 5th position, 12 points clear of Toro Rosso, who are in 6th, despite this is still their best season ever in Formula 1. Some way ahead, 33 points clear of Force India, who are in 7th, with 13 points clear of Sauber, who are in 8th. McLaren in 9th, 25 points behind, and then Manor rounding off the top 10 in the last position with the 3 points that Will Stevens scored at Austria. So here's a quick reminder of how the 2 seasons of UniONE have gone so far. So first season, Season 1, 2014 season, where in the Marussia, Nico Rosberg took the Drivers' Championship, with Mercedes winning the Constructors, and then this season, first half of the season in the Lotus, second half in the Williams, Vettel taking the championship and Ferrari taking the constructors. As it seems so far, whoever wins the drivers, someone from that team will also win the constructors as well, which pretty much usually how it goes. But with how close it was between Mercedes and Ferrari, it could have gone either way, with either of them winning either of the championships. And I'm hoping for Season 3 to be even closer, maybe I'll have a 3-4-way fight even. Talking Season 3 is happening, Season 3 of UniONE, and pre-season is coming actually next Friday, so in 1 week's time Season 3 will begin, with the highlights video from this season coming on Monday, and then pre-season testing for Season 3 coming on Friday. I just want to say before I end off this video, huge thank you to everyone who watched this entire season, stuck through it all the way throughout. Now, some races were kind of dull, but that's racing. Not every race is going to be action-packed like this one. But I think it got better as the season went on, and hopefully more epic racing to come in Season 3. So that's been the season finale, Brazilian Grand Prix, round 18 for UniONE, Season 2. Thanks for watching. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed this race, or enjoyed the entire season as well. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you all next time.